All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk to you guys about high school and beyond plan requirement for all graduating seniors, and then we'll follow up with some talk about scholarship notebook. On the tables, I've got some paperwork for the students. If you are not already in the high school and beyond classroom, that's the pink sheet. If you're not already in the scholarship notebook classroom, that's the gold sheet. The QR code will bring you just to classroom.google.com, and below the QR code is the code you'll need to enter the classroom. All right, I'm gonna let Jamie Christensen start.
Thank you. So my name is Jamie Christensen. I'm one of the counselors here. And we are going to go over high school and beyond plan. Just a reminder, I know now that you are all seniors, you know there are 4 things that you need to graduate. Number 1 is the 24 credits in each different category. You need Washington State history, which most of you completed in middle school, a graduation pathway, and then last is the high school and beyond plan. So, high school and beyond plan is a document where you're answering 3 questions. Who are you? What can you become? And how do you become that? And so, yeah, this is a requirement. You go through the document and you're filling it out, and it's also a tool for us to help support the students in deciding kind of what their plans might be for after high school and how we can support them in reaching that goal. So this is page number 2 or 3. You're going to answer, what are your interests, skills, abilities, values, goals, dreams, personality traits? Ideally, you would have filled this out in middle school, but if not, you can either think back to what those interests in skills and abilities were as a middle schooler, or just what they are now. And then we are looking for a solid paragraph. So at least 3 complete sentences, if not listing out each one of those values, goals, dreams. And then the same goes for what your goals and dreams are, or skills and abilities as a high schooler. Okay, so solid paragraph, 3 to 4 full sentences, or listing them out. And then the next is, who am I? That was who am I? What can I become? And this one is where you're going to scroll all the way down to page 15, and there are 3 career interest surveys. So we ask students to take at least 2 of them. And from those surveys, you're going to, right there, so there's Career Bridge, there's Career One Stop, and then Advanced CTE. And most of you either took one in middle school or maybe your 9th or 10th grade year here at the high school. It is fun to take them every other year, see how your interests have changed and what careers are out there for you. So Mary is showing us the Career Bridge survey here. And they all take right around 15 to 20 minutes to take those surveys. So scrolling back up to, okay. So once you've taken those surveys, you're going to put, I think there should be 4 of your top careers of interest. You're going to list those. 2 of them can be from the survey, 2 can just be off the top of your head, what you already know you want to get into. And then you will choose from the different categories of realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, etc. So you'll put those into categories. And then next is educational goals and plans. So with those careers, how do you become them or that? And then So you're going to check the box on this left column. Is it on the job training? Will you do an apprenticeship, military, career college, 2-year, 4-year? And that's for your top post-high school goal, and then you'll check the box on the next for your backup. Okay, so that's pretty easy. And then next is your academic course planner. Again, this is something that ideally you would have started as a 9th grader. So each year you're filling out each box for what classes you took so that you can take note of what classes you need to take for the following year in order to hit the 24 required credits. So in each box you're going to go through, type in English 9, maybe it was Honors English, etc. And then there's totals at the bottom for each year.
Sorry.
Woohoo! You got too crazy with it.
Any questions so far? Yeah, okay. Oh,
Already see that on the Skyward, what they've taken?
Yes.
What they have still to take, so they just need to copy and paste it in there?
pretty much, yeah. And we can also provide an unofficial transcript if your student wants to come in and have us print it out. That sometimes makes it easier too to have a paper copy and then just type it in.
Oh, one more question. How do they record the running start on the running start?
Oh, yeah, so it depends on so if you take English 101, you would just put it in for English either 11 or 12, depending on what year they take it. Yeah. So just fill in whatever subject it falls under. Good question.
I forgot what part we were
Oh,
swap.
are we switching off now?
Sure.
Well, that was fast. Okay.
I think it's like halfway through. Ballpark.
Yeah, you're good.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Quinn Falcon. I'm another one of the counselors at the high school, and I'm going to jump in at this part. So after filling out credits and all that good stuff, transcript and progress review. So it's okay if you don't remember the exact date in 9th grade that you met with your counselor or your advisory teacher or another staff member to go over your credits or plan out classes, just as best you recall, just, month, year, season. A lot of the times, especially an easy one for senior year, is if you're in my office to talk about anything relevant to that, we can count that. So just in general, we're hoping there was that yearly checkpoint. And that's another one where hopefully you were able to fill it out as you go, but if you didn't, no big deal. We'll kind of identify those touch points and when they happened. Oh, high school requirements completed in middle school. So majority of students, that's just gonna cover Washington State history, which is taken in 7th grade. Some students might have taken high school level math classes in middle school, but that would be the extent of it. So it's gonna be for everyone, the Washington State history in 7th grade, and then potentially 1 to 2 math classes for some students who were more advanced in math.
I forget, is it repeat that part?
So if this is for, if you're not doing, if you don't do the 2 years of language.
Oh, got it.
Okay, sorry, I needed a refresher from Jamie. I think it's been since June since I've looked at these a ton. So this would be for students who, if you are in that category that you didn't take 2 years of world language, which totally fine, you're just indicating what your post-high school plans are according to that. For a lot of students, this is, you'll notice, identical to the 2 columns earlier. You can just put the same thing for the most part. All right, this is what Jamie was referring to. So personalized pathway requirement. So this is regarding credits, and a lot of students take 2 years of world language, but if they didn't, totally fine as well. We're looking for classes that align with whatever their career path is. Sometimes that's really straightforward, where you say, well, I want to be a car mechanic and you've taken auto tech. Other times it might be more broad, but as best we can, we want to identify classes that you've taken that are relevant to whatever your next step is. Sometimes if you're not sure on that, I would just recommend come check in with your counselor. We'll talk through it and figure out what's a fit there. All right, and then this page is referencing that graduation pathway that Jamie mentioned is one of those 4 key pieces for graduation requirements that y'all are circling in on as you get through senior year. And there's a lot on this page, but so it's deceptive. The one thing you need to fill out, you don't need to fill out every category, or for those of you who may have taken multiple different tests or things that apply to this, you're just filling out the one that completed your graduation pathway. And I think, Jamie, do you recall, can they check that in Skyward, or do we have to?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's right.
They can actually see their scores, their test scores. Yeah.
So you can see your SBA scores, and for some of you, if you hit, that might have been how a lot of students met their pathways. Not all, totally fine if that wasn't how you hit yours. So that's the first place to check, but this is probably one of the ones where most of the time I would recommend just check in with your counselor. It's really easy for us to look it up in Skyward, and it's kind of it's not so intuitive for students to look up, but some of the different things that students might have done would be taking the ASVAB, that's the military entrance exam. You might have taken 2 credits of CTE classes that fulfill the requirement. For a lot of you, maybe taking an advanced English class or college level math course. That's some of the different ways to do this, but it's pretty situational. So yeah, I would probably recommend just double check with your counselor if you're not sure how you met that requirement. And if you weren't on track to meet that, you would have heard from us. So don't sweat it if you're not sure. This isn't some like lurking thing. We would have reached out to you to check on that. Okay, now pause for a second. Any questions on what I've covered so far? All right, that must mean I'm nailing it. So this part, resume or activity log, this looks like quite a bit to fill out. If you have a resume, you can just upload your resume. So this is just documenting things you've done. If you don't have a resume, I'd recommend instead of doing the activity log, you take that time to put together a resume, because that's something you're going to use. Typically, you don't apply for a job and hand them the activity log. I mean, I guess they might take it, but in general, I'd recommend a resume. Either if you have one, awesome, just copy and paste it in there. If you don't have one, check in with us. Paul Kelly from College Success Foundation is able to help with the resumes, but that's something that's going to serve you and that you're going to keep using as you move on through your career. All right, and then I think we're onto our last page. This is a nice segue because it's talking about financial aid and funding for college, and then we'll be transitioning to charity. So this one, there's a lot on here. I will point out right here, maybe can you highlight that? A lot of times you're supposed to digitally sign there. It's kind of silly, but it is a requirement of it. Students tend to miss that one because it's sort of buried in the text. We just need you to type your name and put the date indicating you've read this. This is just describing your options for financial aid. The big one would be the FAFSA, and there's also some other stuff on there. And then another important thing, because we're mid-college deadlines, a lot of you have probably submitted your college applications already. If that is the situation you're in, you're planning to go to college, but you'll want to list the colleges you're interested in attending. Make sure you know those deadlines, put those in there. If you are someone who's not intending to go to college, totally fine. Mary, can you scroll down, please? And it is kind of buried at the end. That would be 7. If you're in a situation where you have other plans, you're enlisting, you're going straight into the workforce, anything that wouldn't require financial aid, just make sure you know that there, and then you don't need to fill out all that other stuff if it does not apply to you.
Anything you guys
They've done all the work, I just need to plug it in.
Yeah.
a state requirement, and who reviews it, and where does this information go?
Yeah, good. So she was asking, is this a state requirement? Yeah, it's a state graduation requirement. And then who reviews it? That's going to be your student's counselor. So myself, Jamie, or Mary Malone. That's part of why we don't want essay answers, because we got to read them all. But put some thought into it, respond to the prompts. And then as far as the information, we store it in case it were to get reviewed. But for the most part, it's just with the school.
When's it due by?
So I'm telling seniors to get it done either before winter break or during winter break. Take an afternoon that you have off to get it done. So that way, going into second semester, one less thing to think about. Yeah. But before graduation, we will be hunting students down if it really gets to be the last minute. And it's not fun for anyone at that point.
I usually end up with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sitting in my back conference room, and I don't let them leave until they've completed that because they can't graduate without it.
Yep.
So it's important that we have that piece of paper that says that they've done it, they've given some thought to their future. So it is something that should we be audited and we've let someone graduate without this, we could be on the hook for it. So.
And we'll be providing chances to give help for the high school and beyond plan throughout the school year. Tomorrow during lunch, counselors will be available in the library with food provided to help with either the FAFSA or high school and beyond plan. So I'd highly recommend be there. It's your chance to get some food and get help with high school and beyond. You're gonna have to work on it anyway, so why not get fed while you do it? And then we'll be in classrooms. We're still working out the specifics, but we always go into senior classes like English and civics. So we'll be in there providing more info on it, and then kind of throughout the year, we'll be hoping to do more lunch drop-ins like we're doing tomorrow.
So it looks like you've reduced it from 5 years ago. It looks like you could do it in 30 minutes. Is that about a good assessment? Like, you don't have to fill it all out, you don't have to do every single activity, just something has to go on paper.
30 minutes would be on the quicker side. It doesn't take a ton of time. If you read it carefully, and I would say, if you have a question, we always recommend reread and then ask away if you're not sure about how to fill something out. But for the most part, this is information you've already gathered as a student. You've maybe thought about your colleges, you know the deadlines. So I wouldn't say it's intensive, but it can sneak up on students if they leave
I guess
it.
the right word is exhaustive. It doesn't
No.
have to be exhaustive. It just has to meet the minimum requirements to get it into the file folder in your office.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I would say, at least for me, I'm not a super harsh grader. I'm just looking for complete sentences. Can I tell that you put a little bit of thought into it and answered the prompt? But yeah, not extensive would be a good way to put it.
Do students have to complete this if they're full-time running start?
Oh, the great question. So that was, do students need to complete this if they're a full-time running start? And the answer to that is yes, they do still need to complete it. It's a requirement for all high school seniors. All right, any other questions before we hand it over to Ms. Charity Brock?
Excuse me.
All right, great, thank you. And if you, as a student, wanting more help with this, we hope to see you during lunch tomorrow in the library.
All right, a couple quick notes for you guys regarding that. Reminder about transcript, if you need that, I sit at the front of counseling all day. You can stop by any time and come get a printout. If you'd like a PDF, if you're not on campus that much, email me. It takes me just the quickest moment to do that. So don't hesitate, come say hi. Second, another good reason to get this done before winter break, segue in, you will be including the final semester 1 transcript with your scholarship notebook. And on that, it will show whether or not you've met graduation requirements. High school and beyond is part of that. I do believe it shows on that. And every year donors ask about that. And it looks better if you've met all the requirements. I end up explaining a lot to donors, like, oh, nope, there's still a whole semester left. This is not the final transcript. But sometimes they're concerned that that may show you're not ready for graduation. So, looks good. All right, so welcome to my 101 presentation. We're gonna go over just kind of the basics of what this is and what you need to do. Again, if you have not already joined the classroom, please do. If any of your friends have not yet joined the classroom, please do. Even if no one is entirely sure what they're gonna do, worst case scenario, you join and you get some good information and know a little bit more. So please join. It's my main point of contact for everyone because I have students all over the place in Running Start and CView. So 100% please join. Pay attention to what I post. I do not put fluff. I only put important things in there. I'll also advertise occasionally for additional scholarships that I think y'all will have an excellent chance of getting. There's a lot of fluff and spam out there in the scholarship world, so I only put stuff I think is quality that you guys need to see, which is typically going to be really hyper-local stuff. All right, so if you plan to continue your education beyond high school, it really is a great tool in the toolbox to help fund that. Generally speaking, FAFSA is going to pay for the bulk of that through Pell Grants, through other things, but Scholarship Notebook is a really great addition and quite frankly, great bang for your buck. Go ahead, go to the next slide. Before I talk about that, I'll say this. Roughly 85% of people that turn in a Scholarship Notebook are gonna see a return on that investment. And typically the 15% didn't turn in a completed notebook. So we cannot promise that you'll get something, but the odds are very, very good. All right, so ultimately we talk about the Scholarship Notebook, but it's really kind of a two-part thing. Your Scholarship Notebook here is how the donors are gonna get to know you on an individual basis and learn about your high school career. You're gonna do a survey when you turn in your notebook. That's gonna create a spreadsheet that goes out to donors, and that's how they're gonna find you. So if you're Jim's Pharmacy, you're looking for students with a 3-point GPA going into a medical field. Click, click. Now they only see the 5, 6, 7 scholarship notebooks that match their scholarship. So the combo of the two is how they're gonna make their final selection. Sometimes donors really rely heavily on the survey spreadsheet answers. It's pretty easy to sort, filter, see all you guys. So don't underestimate the power of the survey. All right, so what are you committing to? I think it really can be different depending on your life and what you've got going on, but I think it's safe to bet between 6 and 12 hours, and that's including sitting down writing the essay, time going and talking to people to get a letter of recommendation, time sitting down during the survey. I don't think it's 6 to 12 hours of furiously typing away on your Chromebook at all. I've seen people bust it out in just a few quick hours. Some people have had much longer time commitments to perfect it. I don't think the amount of time you put in necessarily turns out to be what you get back in scholarships. Donors are far more concerned about what is in there. What is your GPA? Did you have an after-school job? Were you in Running Start? What kind of clubs were you in? Versus, did you make the whole thing look fancy? Quite the opposite, actually, but we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll go over kind of here what it consists of. And we do, if you have not already seen, we do have a template in the Scholarship Notebook classroom. I encourage you to use it. Using a different style, it does not equal more scholarship money. The template was made after talking to some of our major donors and getting feedback on what they wanted. A lot of your donors are not spring chickens anymore. So what they value is something that's easy to read and gets to the point. You're gonna have a small cover page here, pretty simple. You'll see through all of this. I've got a few things highlighted in green. That's gonna be things that you replace. There's only a few of those. For a cover photo, any senior picture is good. I think it's nicer to have something that's a little more close up of your face. And in general, if it's a picture your grandma would approve of, it is an excellent cover photo. True story, not a picture of you with a mocktail. It will not look like a mocktail, and we'll have to pull you in to ask you to change it. All right, what not to do. It happens every year. Someone wants to put in a lot and do colored backgrounds and bits and bobs. Not this is just for funsies. But we get feedback from one particular donor who represents Portland Education Foundation, a massive amount of the money that will get awarded. If she sees a colored background, you are automatically out of the running. So, quite frankly, the template is the quickest way to save time and make donors happy. Certainly don't have to do it, but it is encouraged. Yeah, pretty much keep it basic, keep it accurate, keep it clean and easy to read. This was my fakey, funsy, cutesy one. Is it the fanciest? No. Is it straight to the point? Yes, and that's what they want. So, I also picked this picture in particular because of the car in the background. Some of you might be going into careers later on that involve a car, horses, something like that. It is definitely classy to have a picture of yourself with something that might be appropriate like that. So if you're going into an automotive industry, get a picture of you in front of a shop or your car. If you're going into large animal veterinary medicine, maybe get a picture of you in front of a nice field or with a horse or something. It's super classy and donors like that. A table of contents is already written out in my template. This will be like one of the last things you do. Just put the new page numbers in. All right, I've started this one because this is going to be what I think is one of the two most important parts. This is very dry. It's going to go over really some basic information about you, and you'll have some opportunities to have an exhaustive list of what you've done. If you want to go to the next. This is going to be a lot of what the survey is. In the classroom and in the packet, if you grabbed one, the packet, by the way, is just a printout of all the materials that are available digitally in the classroom. So I've got all the survey questions already there for you to see. It's almost identical to what's in the personal information. Pretty simple, a little dry. I want to particularly point out, here's some of the activities. This is your best opportunity and where you want to list out, here are the awards I got. Here are the clubs I was in. Here was all of my leadership activities. And leadership doesn't necessarily refer to leadership. It could mean you were the captain of a team. It could mean you were a shift lead at work or a trainer. It could mean you were in charge of the baby room at church. Anything that kind of put you in an overseeing position is a leadership activity. If you want to go to the next page. Statement of purpose, I think, is the most important part of your scholarship notebook. It is an essay about you. I think I have a next. Yeah, so it's basically going over, who are you? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go to school? What is a challenge that you have in getting there? Or a challenge in general. A lot of donors really like to hear a story of how you've overcome something. For some people, that might be a big, heartbreaking story. And for those that do have that, I want to remind you, you do not need to go into great detail. You can, if you want to share that story and you are not obligated to, just keep in mind this is going out to the greater public. So you don't have to be too opening of those wounds. But other people just might have a story of, I'm terrible at homework, and here's what I did to get myself organized. and on track so that way I could raise my grades and subsequently my GPA. Ultimately, they're kind of looking to find out, are you someone that can make that transition from high school into college and be successful? Most college students end up having to get a part-time job or something. So if you're already here in school and doing Running Start, if you're in school and volunteering and doing a job or something, that's already a step in the right direction. So you can kind of talk about that as well. And the big one, they want to know, why would you like some money? It is always crass to talk about money, but they want to know. They want to know how they can help. If you've got a story there, they would love to hear it. Again, some people are going to have a big story there. Other people, the story's going to be, the world's not getting any cheaper, and I want to make sure I am keeping the damage to my family as minimal as possible, and I want to try to start my life without a bunch of debt. There is no right or wrong answer, only your truthful answer. All right, the final section is going to be kind of the funsy section. You can have a little more fun with this. Some donors don't pay as much attention to this section, so certainly have fun with it. I don't think you need to invest 20, 30 hours in putting this together. It's kind of like a collage of sorts. This is where you'll have pictures, copies of awards and certificates. I don't think you need to be exhaustive. I would put in some highlights that you're particularly proud of. Some of you have been collecting newspaper articles and things over the years. Bear in mind that many donors are just going to kind of flip through this. They're not going to exhaustively read it. So I would pick the things you're most proud of. When it comes to the awards and certificates, they'll be paying much more attention to what you've listed out in the beginning versus what you've shown here. They won't always know exactly what they're looking at either. So again, focus on the ones that you are most proud of. If you are someone who has a lot of trophies, medals, we suggest make a cute pile on the kitchen table, or come here and we can help you with it and get a nice picture of yourself showcasing everything. Sometimes the abundance of that picture looks fantastic. You can always come in and I can show you some examples from some popular, well-received former graduated students' notebooks, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. If you've taken the SATs and you're proud of your score, include them. They are not required, so if you did not take the SATs, it's not a problem. If the score was not exactly what you wanted, not a problem. You can leave that out. You'll also be including a copy of your transcript, and this is where it gets just a bit tricky. We have to have that completed first semester one, but that will be available approximately a week and a half, I believe, before these are due. So I do not open up the survey until I have transcripts ready to send out. What I will do is I get a report, of everyone's transcripts, and I will email you a PDF. Once you've gotten your PDF, you can pop it in, do the survey, and submit it. It's a little wonky sometimes, but we are here to help, and I promise it's not as easy, not as difficult as it really is. Show of hands, how many of the students have used an online PDF combiner before? Yeah. Not the ones I use. Nope, totally free.
I went without one forever and finally somebody bought me a license.
Ooh, I love PDF.com. there's quite a few of them. They've got ads that can be a little bit annoying, but it's got a ton of stuff, and I suggest all the students bookmark it because it can be a really valuable resource later on when you're trying to, I've got a Word document and I'm trying to transfer it to this, or I've got this, my iPhone wonky picture, but I need it to be a JPEG. It's got a ton of things on it and it's all free, along with large ads. I love PDF.com. There's others out there, that's just the one I use. And I have when the time comes, I'll post it in the classroom. I do have a super simple 1, 2, 3 tutorial about how to do it. Honestly, combining your PDFs and your template together takes probably less than a minute and 3 or 4 clicks. So it goes quick. All right. This is just my example. It does not have to look like this. This is just an idea of what might be nice. This is totally fake. Maybe you're showcasing activities at school. Maybe you're showcasing some personal hobbies. You know, you have a love of critters. Next slide, please. You can do hyperlinks. If you have some videos or newspaper articles and things you'd like to link to, just keep in mind, it can't be anything that's in your school Google Drive. People outside of the school district will not be able to access it. So it needs to be something like a YouTube video. And again, if you need help with that, we got you. Next one. So this was kind of my example here of pick out a few that you're interested in. Have a collage of your trophies and medals. It looks nice. Next one. This is what not to do. It's very popular. The 90s bedroom wall collage that we all had. You know what you're looking at, but your donors do not. So it just looks like a bunch of stuff. I think it's far nicer to have clean, highlighted things in your pages. You'll also be including letters of recommendation. In the back of the packet or separate, I have a worksheet. And you can use that to kind of throw out some highlights, and that's what you're going to hand over to any teachers you're asking for a letter of recommendation. You can use it outside of here as well if you're asking a boss or youth group leader or something. Ideally, if you want to go to the next one, you're going to have a variety of people write your letters of recommendation. Most students are going to have 3 teachers here, and that's totally fine. But if you have other things, I think that that's best. You want to kind of showcase a well-rounded part of yourself. This is where I have like movement in the slideshow, so you'll see as you go forward. Yeah, you can use teachers. You can have coaches. You can have your manager. It's your life and your story, and you know who those people are that could speak about you and an aspect of you and why you are an awesome, successful person who's going to college and going to totally rock it. Yeah. Very popular is adding them as a picture into the template. This is where I think the PDF combiner is chef's kiss. Adding it as a picture, it's going to be blurry and people won't be able to read it. Donors absolutely read these. So I have the request out to staff here that they send it to you in PDF form. That way you can combine it with the template at the end. If you need assistance, you get just a physical letter. Please come see me. I can help you get that scanned and sent to your email. As you collect these also, ideally, in your Google Drive, you have a folder that just says Scholarship Notebooks. And as you get these things, just drop them in that folder so they're ready to go. All right. Again, the transcript, I'm going to email that to you guys, so don't worry. If you go running start, they'll have their own as well. Great to add into this. All right. Yay, the survey! I would argue at a certain point, it might actually be more important than the notebook these days. You can pour your heart and soul into that notebook, but if they can't find you, it doesn't matter. So the survey is 50 questions. It's a little dry, but it's important. And honestly, you already know all the answers to all the questions once you've gotten to that point. It doesn't take that long. Most people were between 10 and 20 minutes, so not difficult. It's a lot of clicking boxes and scrolling, not a lot of typing. Go ahead. So what might make you part of that 15% that doesn't get anything? I think by and large, it's people that have turned in incomplete notebooks. Only 1 letter of recommendation. No essay, blank pages. That's definitely the number 1, by far. Inappropriate language in pictures, it has happened and it has disqualified them. False information, they are hoping that everyone is truthful. but it sometimes comes out. So tell the truth, please. It's not made by you. They're expecting the students to make it. So it doesn't have to be a $1 million scholarship notebook. It's okay if it's perfectly imperfect. Do your best. And I've got that in the classroom, I've got that in the packet, so you don't have to remember this. We ask that you have your requests for letters of recommendation into staff here at the school by winter break. And school staff here has said in good faith, if you do that, they promise to get it to you in a timely fashion. If you ask for your letters of recommendation when we get back from winter break, they are much more likely to say no. They're much more likely to give you a poor quality letter, and they are much more likely to get it to you at the bitter end when you are scrambling to put things together. So ask now, ask yesterday. These will be due on a day we are not at school, Monday, February 16th at midnight. I want you guys to meet the deadline, but if something happens that night, I don't want you guys losing sleep over this. Just email me and let me know, and we'll talk the next day. Awards night is where you will find out what you've been awarded. And that's going to happen Wednesday, May 20th, 6 p.m. in the auditorium. You will be turning in thank you cards to your donors. Included in that is going to be a sheet that talks about your mailing address, your contact info, but most importantly, the financial aid office info of where you're going to be attending school. This, in essence, tells your donors where they're sending the award to.
When is that turned in by?
Oh, can you go back one?
The date doesn't exist.
May 39th. I will fix that. Roughly a week later. I think I marked it down for a week and a half, if memory serves. Rad. All right, next slide. If you want to take a picture of this, you can contact me anytime. I'm happy to help any way that I can. We're going to have an abundance of upcoming workshops, opportunities. The old CSF room, that orange door right back there, we're getting a computer set up that way. As we get real close to it, I'll be in there during lunches, so you can pop in anytime and come ask. If you're running start, we can always meet over Google Meet. So nothing but options and lots of help available. Any questions? Yes.
So if you're planning on taking like a year off in between high school and college,
Mm-hmm.
does this funding still apply to you, or do you have to go directly from high school to college?
All of the above is the answer. Depends on the donor. Some donors are they want to stick with students who are going straight into college, because the theory is if you don't go straight into college, then you may not go to college at all. Other donors are more than happy to allow for a gap year. I would just get ahead of that and note that in your scholarship notebook, because definitely we've had students who are like, nope, I'm taking a gap year because I want to work to save money, and that's kind of a good angle to put in there. If that's why you're taking the gap year, good to talk about that. Any other questions?
And I just want to stress the survey, okay? We do not send out individual scholarship notebooks to different groups. We send out the compilation of the surveys in a spreadsheet. Those groups then sort it however they want to sort it, okay? So we do not send out individual scholarship notebooks. We send out the whole bit of information. They then sort through however they're going to sort. Oftentimes, if parents are in Kiwanis, the Kiwanis will sort by Kiwanis. And if you don't put down that you're somehow, as a student, you're affiliated with Kiwanis through your parents, they will not see your scholarship notebook. So it's really important that you put as much information that's pertinent in there, because that's the way they're going to sort it out. If you played football, the football boosters are going to sort it by that. Any service clubs, the police department, has scholarships. But if it's not listed that your parents or grandparents were part of the Port Angeles Police Department, they won't ever get that information because they're gonna sort the information. So,
I agree completely. The notebook is the thing that is the splash and the fancy and the thing everybody wants to see, but I would argue that the survey is more important, truly. Because if they can't find you, they can't learn about you. So make sure they can find you.
If you're a student and you still don't know what you want to do, is there someone we could talk to or a place we could go to get help with that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, one, come see your counselor anytime. CSF can be a good option as well, but that brings up a good point. Many people are going to be undecided when they're making their scholarship notebook. We strongly urge you not to put undecided, but to put a few options. If you're kind of like, oh, I'm curious about maybe being a nurse, or I'm also curious about going into professional ceramic making, put both of those down. Donors do not expect that you're gonna know exactly what you want to do with the single exact university you wanna go to. Some do, most don't. That brings up another point. Say you get a scholarship from Jim's Pharmacy, right? You're going to nursing and they've awarded you their scholarship. But then you change over the summer and you're going into ceramic pottery. Every donor is gonna be different here. Some are gonna say, no problem, I'm just happy to support you, not an issue. Others are gonna find out you're going somewhere else and they're gonna say, no, I decline and I'm gonna move on. Don't let that stop you. Do what's right for you always. As with so much of this, it really is up to each donor. We are ultimately just a middleman here at the high school. We're here to help you create this. We're here to help make sure it's translated appropriately for donors so they get all the best information they need. But ultimately, this is the donor's decision-making process in the end. Any questions? All right, I will give you guys the rest of your night back. Thank you all so much for coming, and truly, don't be shy. Come see me anytime. Email me, set up an appointment, anything. I'm happy to help however I can. Thanks.